Ryan, having come from behind and got yourself in front, in the end, was that an opportunity missed not to win that game?
I don't know. I wouldn't use a phrase like that to sum up that game. I didn't think we were doing too much wrong in the first half, other than we conceding penalties when they were coming out of yardage. That was the big difference between the two teams. I thought Hull played really well. I thought they defended really well, and I thought they were good for the win. I got no gripe with Hull winning, but I mean, I've got a little bit of a whinge going on. The game's just too many possessions. Whether a team's good in possession or not is decided by whether the opposition's defence concedes a penalty, and it's like a big pantomime. I know it goes on at Headingley. I'm not saying it's just Hull. But all the big crowds bay for yardage penalties, and we never get to find out whether we're good in D over 3 or 4 sets. We never get to find out whether Hull are good in D or offence for 3 or 4 sets, where you get in that arm wrestle. There's never too much of an arm wrestle between the games. It's always decided that you're down there end of the field because of sometimes good offence, but a lot to do with penalties. And when Hull get up and literally pick our defender up and throw him, they've got the possession of the ball and they throw our defender away like they did with Richie Marler. I'm not sure what to tell him on Monday about what he should do. You might say, well, they should have let go of him, but I thought where you got tackled is where you've got to stand up and play the ball. So if they're going to move off the mark, defenders will think the play's still live, you know. And I thought we was on the end of some harsh calls, which pretty much had the balance of the game, meant that we're defending near our try line for too much. And I thought we were outstanding near our try line in the first half. I thought all were very good as well near their try line. We had some possession near their try line and they kept us out. But we came in at half time with more juice taken out of us than them. And then in the second half, I just thought we were outstanding. I don't have a complaint.
Just on the penalties and so on, is the perception of the rule change? Why do you think this has suddenly become a more...
I don't think it's suddenly become anything. I think it's been in the game for a long time. I don't know. I don't have enough evidence, and if you're going to throw some numbers at me to contradict it, I'll concede you're right. But I don't think our game's decided. We just play a different game for the first 2/3 of Super League than we do for the final third. So when my team play in playoffs and Challenge Cup finals, we get good at kicking the ball long, defending a set, having the ball kicked long to us. We attack for a set and do that. And it's, you know, for the purists who love rugby league, it's a great spectacle. And then only the most unfittest and mentally weak people break. But we never get to find that out because referees blow a whistle for probably what is a penalty. But I don't, you know, if you're going to look at the game with a microscope. So, and if opposition strategy during their yardage is to throw themselves about or do something ridiculous while playing the ball, while trying to attempt to play the ball, if that's their strategy, well, I don't have an answer for it.
When you say that the game's played differently in the first 2/3 of the season to the final third, what exactly changes that?
Referees don't award those penalties.
And why do you think that they change?
That's the referees. I'm presuming that the memo comes down saying we want a more free-flowing game. I mean, I'm not wrong on this, and I'll challenge anybody if they say I'm wrong, that Challenge Cup finals don't have as many penalties in them. Semi-finals for playoffs don't have as many penalties in them. The comeback to that is, well, players have cleaned their act up by that time. No, they haven't. People are still throwing themselves about. Some people still ridiculously throw themselves about and wiggle on the floor, trying to get some penalties while they're coming out their own end. And listen, that's an explanation about why my team came in tied at half time. That's an explanation about why we lost. I thought Hull were very good. I thought they played at a real high tempo. And if you've lost momentum, they're an incredibly strong team to defend against. They've got some really strong ball carriers. And without my big men, too many of my big men, we had too much juice taken out of us. But for us to get back into the game in the second half, I just thought was great. I know some of you have been writing about Callum missing goals. I think you ought to write about him tonight. Kick 3 from 3 is fantastic kicks, and need some credit for that. So I'm proud about what we did tonight. Disappointed we lost, but for 1 or 2 moments in that second half, we'd have got that game. You know, would have won the game. That would have been a great win. I don't know if you can have such a thing, but it was a good loss, that one.
The second half fight back, what triggered it? Did you change anything, or was it better execution? What triggered that response?
I told them that when Hull get up and play the ball off the mark, go stand opposite their player, don't stand there or don't fight it. Don't try and play our version of rugby league. Go play Hull's version of rugby league and go get to marker. Even if they go 4 yards to the side, go be at marker. And we conceded less penalties. Should I have to say that?
I suggest not. No. That said, to lose the game, as you said, proud, but ultimately disappointing, because you'd worked so hard to get back into a winning position, and then obviously it just falls away at the end.
Yeah, no, I'm not frustrated. I don't. You know, that's the nature of it. And I don't listen. Just my gripe isn't about Hull. It's certainly not about Lee Radford. I think Lee Radford's doing a great job. And but as I've often said, in this room, in rooms after, in post-match press conferences, coaches don't have much control over players. What players will attempt to do, and if they feel they can get a penalty from somebody, they will do that. Whether the game panders to that type of exit sets, you know, that's the bigger question. It's not about whether Hull do it or not. I want to make that clear. Every team does it. My team does it. I'm just going to gripe about that version of rugby league that we play sometimes for the first 2/3 of the game.
Do we need to stamp out the flailing on the floor, the wriggling on the floor? Would that
just don't give a penalty? Unless somebody blatantly is holding somebody down, and then penalise. You know, I know there's going to be some grey areas. You're going to quote to me, well, there's some. It's not black and white. I understand, but you know, sometimes I'm sat there thinking, we're going to concede here. We're going to concede a penalty. Not because my team's doing something wrong, because it's just that's how it looks for what the opposition is trying to achieve.
Have you expressed these concerns to Steve Ganson or anyone within the match?
It's not about Steve Ganson. It's beyond Steve Ganson.
Have you expressed your concerns to the RFL as a whole?
Yeah, for 10 years.
Not had any.
No, I'm not. Listen, I'm not here to say I'm therefore Nigel Wood or Ralph from it. It's not about that. I just think there's a conversation to be had without accusing anybody of anything. That I don't know. Are we the only sport where 12,000 people can control the outcome of somebody's offence? Does it happen at Leeds? Of course it does. It's happened at Leeds for a long time. It's not happening now because we don't have a stand. But we must be the only sport where so much of the crowd. Can you imagine that happening at boxing? I don't know how it would happen. Give me a scenario. Does it happen in soccer? I don't watch enough football. I don't know. I don't know. The crowds are completely different in soccer, and they're vocal and all that. But I don't know if they control the tempo of the game so much. I know it's just something I can't get it. I just don't get it. And when you've got referees shaking their heads to the crowd, they shake their heads no, and they're making gestures. They're answering the crowd. Last week, Ben, and again, I want to be really clear. I'm not making a point about Ben Thurlitz. He's only refereeing to the edicts that he's been given, to the criteria he's been given. But when people are calling for a penalty and Ben Thurlitz going no, he's diving and doing that, what's to the crowd? We must be the only sport that talks to the crowd like that, and the crowd controls the game. So I coach my blokes, and I know lots of other coaches in Super League coach the blokes to be fit, strong, and we talk to them, and we have a certain attitude and persona that want to be regarded as tough and mentally tough. And when the game gets really tired, we talk about those scenarios, about when the game's really tired, be there for your mate. So when you've done 3 or 4 sets with the ball and there's been no break in the game, nobody's found touch, there's no penalty been given, nobody's conceded breaks, that's when we get to find out who the tough teams are. That's the version we play at the end of the year, and that's the version what the internationals play at. But we spend 2/3 of the year answering 12,000 people, and that's my gripe. So did it mean we lost tonight? No, but I don't get a platform to speak to often, so I'm using this one now. Credit to all, they were better than us tonight, you know, and ran stronger, but we were tired in half time for reasons other than being unfit, and I'll give you some explanation why that was.
Stevie Ward okay?
Yeah, he's okay. he's put a big shift in over the last month, as has Brett Delaney and Carl Ablett. We've had a merry-go-round of front rowers and people trying to play front row over the last 6-7 weeks, and Jamie Jones, Carl Ablett and Brett Delaney and Stevie Ward they've put a big shift in for us. So when he started to limp and look gassed, Stevie, he could have stayed on and wanted to stay on and would have done an okay job, but I changed him and young Cam Smith went on there, who was learning his trade and going well.
Is there a need to add another front rower just from a body perspective more than anything else?
Can you play?
I'd rather not. Yeah.
Is there a need to add another front rower? Yeah, I've got a couple. I've got 3 that are injured at the moment, so, and they've all been injured since the start of the year.
Any further questions?
Bring you.